You might have heard people talking about Google Analytics, but what is it? And do you really need it? Today, I'm actually going to be stepping you through the analytics tool supplied by Google for free and just showing you not only the information that you can get from Google Analytics, but explain why you need to be using this and why you need to become familiar with this particular tool. Now, Google Analytics is actually the top free platform for actually tracking information from your website. So tracking where people come from, how they find you, how they actually move around your site. And it's a platform that actually gives you the complete picture of exactly how your site is performing. Now, it gives you so much information, and I find for a lot of business owners, it actually becomes extremely overwhelming. So, what we're going to do today is just run through some key areas that you really need to focus on. And I'll show you how to set up some reports so that every week you actually get a bit of a breakdown of exactly how your site's performing. And not only that, finding out exactly how your marketing is working. So, there's three key areas when it comes to using Google Analytics. And the first thing is actually understanding whether your marketing is working or not. So understanding whether people are actually finding your website from social media, from blogs that you're doing, or whether it's from Google itself or even Google My Business. So it gives you an idea of, and it also gives you an idea of the type of clients that are coming through. The second reason to be actually using Google Analytics is to have a look at how your search engine optimization is working. So it will show you when you've got errors on your site, and it actually lets you know what keywords are actually bringing people in. And then the third thing is your site improvement. So finding out that if there's something you need to work on, Google Analytics will actually tell you what to do there. Now, with the rise of Google Apps, Google has actually bought out Google Analytics 4. The problem is, though, that a lot of different plugins that are used in WordPress don't actually read those yet. So there's a couple of ways that you can actually install it on your site, and I'll show you how to do that further in the video. So first thing we're going to do is I'll just show you how Google Analytics, what it looks like. There we go. Okay, so this is the Google Analytics dashboard. Now with this, there's so much information here. So you can actually see on the left-hand side, you've got your customization. It gives you real-time audience acquisition behavior. Okay. So I'll run through how this works, how to set up a report, and then I'll show you a few things to check in the back end to make sure that everything is set up correctly. So the first thing that you need to look at is obviously real time. So real time will actually tell you exactly how many people are on your website at that particular time, how many users you've had for the selected period of time. If it's an e-commerce store, it will actually show you your revenue for that particular time and then your conversion rate. So if you do have an e-commerce store, whether it's Shopify, BigCommerce, Magento, or even WooCommerce with WordPress, this is really important because it actually tells you what's working and what's not. If you scroll down a little bit further, you've got your traffic channels. Your source and your medium is actually where people are coming from. So you can see down here whether they're going directly to your website, whether they're actually coming through from Google pay-per-click, and then if you've got any partners or affiliates or anything else in that regard. It will also tell you exactly where in the world people are coming from, and then the best time of day that your users are online. So we scroll down a little bit further. Another thing that's really good is you can actually set up goals. And so you can say if somebody clicks on this particular link or they take this particular action, that's going to be a particular goal that's worth X amount for my company. Now that's getting a little bit more advanced. Right now we're just going to sort of go through the basics. So one of the first things that you can check is your audience. So it will actually give you an overview of your audience, where they come from, how long they spend on your site. Now, you'll often see bounce rate. Now, what a bounce rate is if you have a lot of landing pages on your website where people will actually click to go directly to a landing page and they don't go anywhere else. they literally do what they need to do and then they get off your site, that is actually collected as a bounce because they've only gone to the one page and they've bounced off. Now, your goal as a business owner is to actually have your website set up that people will actually move through your website. And the longer they stay on your site, the more Google is actually going to look at what you're doing and say, okay, these guys have got a really good idea. They're actually giving their visitors exactly what they need. So, Google has one goal, and their goal is to put the most relevant information in front of their client, which is the person searching, in the fastest possible time. That's their only goal. Your goal as a business owner is to make sure that you are supplying that relevant information. And the best way for Google to track that is to see how long people are actually staying on your website and seeing how they're actually moving through your website. So that's why they actually give you all this information. It tells you how many users, how long they've stayed, and how many pages they've actually gone through, how many pages every time they visit they will actually go through. With the audiences, it will actually go through and start giving you your demographics and start giving you a breakdown of, you can see here, the age, the gender. Now, there is a bit of an issue when it comes to privacy. Bottom line is, guys, we've all got smartphones. We've all got 9 times out of 10 location turned on, or we use maps. We're on Facebook. Everything that you do online is being tracked whether you like it or not. And I know Apple's launched this latest thing where you can actually switch it off on apps to say, no, I don't want to be tracked. They're still tracking you. So as a business owner, the fact that you're getting this information, it's really important that you utilize it. And, it gives you an overview so you can actually see exactly how your website's performing, who's coming to your site, and what they're doing when they're on there. Now, one of my favorite tools is the users flow, which is this one down here. Now, if you're not too sure when it comes to certain pages as to what's working and what's not, this actually gives you such a great flow and shows you exactly where people are coming from in the world, and it shows you how they're actually moving through your website. So if you are looking at this and you might get to a particular page and people drop off straight away, then you've got a problem with that page. So you can actually go in, have a look, maybe change the content up a little bit, make it a little bit more relevant for the people that are searching. So it gives you a really good idea of how people are moving through. Now, as I said, as a business owner, there is so much information here. It goes through where they're from, what their interests are, what devices, whether they're on Apple or laptop, or whether they are on their mobile phone. If they're on their mobile phone, what kind of phone they're using, what their browser is, what their operating system is. So whether it's Chrome or Safari or Firefox or Internet Explorer. So it gives you a good idea of the kind of people that are visiting your site and what they're doing. Now, the next thing that's really great, and this is probably as a business owner, apart from this page users flow, is to actually see where your clients are coming from. Because from a marketing perspective, this is actually going to determine where you're going to spend your time, which is your most precious commodity as a business owner, and where you're going to put your money. So you can see here, you've got your overview. You can see the different channels that people come in from. So if we just click on here, you can actually see you've got direct, display, paid, affiliates, and then you've also got, they'll actually show you whether it comes from social media and which platforms that they're on. So if you're spending a lot of time on a particular platform, it will tell you whether you're wasting your time or not. And there was a client that we did quite a bit of SEO work for a while, and they were a building franchise, and they had franchisees up and down the eastern seaboard. And the most interesting thing was every single time we ran a report, one of the top 3 channels was Pinterest. So they would not have, and we would not have even thought about putting more time and energy into Pinterest if we hadn't had a look at these reports and gone, well, this is where most of their clients are coming from. So it gives you an idea of where you should be spending your time. And then, of course, you've got your behavior and your conversions. Now, you don't want to be going in constantly and getting overwhelmed with all of this. So one of the best ways of making sure that you don't get overwhelmed is to actually go into customizations here and actually set up some custom reports. So the custom reports, they will actually give you some templates that you can use as well, but you can actually set up custom reports that will actually tell you where people are coming from, what they're doing, and you can actually pick and choose the information that you want to know every single week. And as a business owner, that is really, really important, because it just saves the overwhelm. So you can go in, and you can even have it set up through this customization here with the saved reports, that it will actually send that report to your email every week. So every week you get a report from analytics telling you exactly where your clients are coming from, what they're doing, the actions that they're taking, and you can pick up straight away if there is an issue, and you can actually work on that. Because again, your time is your most precious commodity as a business owner, and you really don't want to be wasting your time on things that really aren't relevant. So, going into customization and setting up a report is really important, because again, you can track how many users, how long they stay on your website for, page views, and you can actually track page views versus events or the number of transactions that you have. So, page views is actually the number of times that anyone has visited a specific page on your website. Events, if they take a particular action, whether they fill in a form, whether they download some information, you can track that as well. And then obviously if you've got an e-commerce store, you can start tracking your transactions as well. So that just sort of gives you a really good idea of how analytics pulls all of this data. So if you're not too sure how to actually set this up, what you need to do is go down to your admin. Now, if you don't have analytics set up, it's as simple as going in and typing analytics.google.com, and you can set up an account. Now, one of the things that I'm really strict on is making sure with all of my clients that everything is set up correctly. Now, Google works on email addresses. So they see the email exactly the same as Facebook. One email address is a particular person. So you should be having everything set up under your email address, generally a Gmail account or something like that. And if you want to give access to somebody else, or you've got a web developer that's doing some web development for you, you make sure that the analytics is either set up under your account or that you are added as an admin. And the fastest way to do that is to go into admin and then go into your account access management. Now, this makes sure that you have access all the time to what you need. Now, this is a demo account that I've used because obviously I'm not going to put my client's information on the web, but you can actually go in and add the web developer, you can add team members into your Google Analytics, and Google has this set up across all of their platforms. And there's nothing that drives me more insane than I start working with a client and find out that they've been working with a marketing company or another web developer that has put their information under that marketing company or that web developer's account. Now, that's something you've got to be very, very careful that, if someone's doing work for you, it's under your email account and you give them access, because this is your footprint online. And I have one client who had all their Facebook set up, and they were doing Facebook marketing and Facebook ads, and everything was in that particular agency's business manager. So it meant that trying to transfer everything back to them when they decided that they didn't want to work with the agency anymore, they weren't able to do that. And it's exactly the same with Google. It's actually having it set up so that you have admin account or admin access to everything that you do, so that if you decide to change providers or change agencies or change web developers, you're not stuck. So please be very, very careful of that, and be very aware of the fact that this is your business online and you need to have admin access to everything. You might not understand what it all is, but it simply means that when you do change service providers, whether it is an agency or a web developer, you have control of all of your information and you're not being hamstrung by another agency or someone else holding you to ransom. So that's one of the best ways of doing that, is going into the account management. Now, with the property settings, you actually go in, and this is where your ID is, and you actually set up your name, what it is, make sure that you have all the demographics set up, and then of course Search Console. Now, Search Console used to be Google's webmaster tools. What it is now, and this is the best platform when it comes to finding out exactly what keywords people are typing in to get to your website. So just making sure that you are actually connected to the Search Console. But that's a video for another time, because it's a little bit more in depth. And this is where you actually set up your goals under your view settings. So you can see here, there's a few different goals that they've actually got set up here that will actually show you and help you track what's working and what's not. So you can actually sit down and say, well, okay, for someone registering on my site, I'm going to allocate a value of $5 or $10 to that. If somebody's entered a checkout, that's worth X amount. So it gives you an idea of what marketing is working and how your website is actually working for you. And that is absolutely priceless. So like I said, to go in and set it up, it really is as simple as going into your property settings and actually adding in your website name and then your default URL and everything else in here. Now, there are, like I said, there is GA4 or Google Analytics 4. Now, the reason that Google has launched this is because there are so many mobile apps out there, and this is just a way of tracking everything. But like I said, there are a number of plugins in WordPress that don't actually pick up the information, and they still work on the universal analytics, which is what this is here. So that's the back end of analytics. So how do you find out, and I was actually asked in a previous video, how do you find out if you have analytics on your site? So one of the fastest ways is to go to your website, right click, and go to view page source. So once you click on view page source, this is what you see. So it looks like a lot of gobbledygook for a lot of business owners. All you are looking for is this, your universal analytics number. Now, I have all of my analytics set up through Google Tag Manager, which is another platform again. So as a business owner, if you go right through and scroll right through all of your code here and you can't find this UA number, you do not have analytics set up on your website. Now, if you've got a WordPress website, what we use is a plugin called Exact Metrics. And I love Exact Metrics because once you've linked it to your Google account, it will actually pull up your analytics once you've got it set up, and it will actually help you also link your Search Console. So another really good one is Monster Insights. So out of those two plugins, they're probably the best way to go. Of course, you know, if you've got a web developer and they're quite comfortable working in the back end, then they can actually paste the code into one of the files, or it's actually into your theme header template. So to find that, you actually just go into admin, you'll see the tracking info and then the tracking code here. and this is the code that you're looking for. So you can see here, there's the universal analytics number. So that is effectively what goes onto your website, and then from there Google can pull as much information as it needs. So that's a very basic overview of your analytics. Like I said, as a business owner, the most important thing is for you to work out exactly the information that you need. So generally you would look at the number of users, how long they stay on your site, where the traffic is coming from, what countries they're coming from, and then the times of day that they are actually visiting your website. And as I said, you can actually create a report that will actually get sent out every single month or every single week, depending on what you want and the information that you need. And it just simplifies things. It just makes it so much easier for you as a business owner to see exactly where people are coming from, how they're moving around your site, and you can see what's working and what's not. So I hope that has been of some value to you today. If none of this makes sense and you'd like to learn more about it, then please comment below and let me know what it is that you're not sure about or what you'd like to learn more about, because that will actually dictate the videos that we do moving forward. And the other thing is, if you really want to have a one-on-one chat with me, I will put the link below and you can reach out, connect with me. We'll have a bit of a strategy session, see exactly what it is that you need, how we can help you actually grow your business online. So like I said, if you've got any questions, comment below. And I hope this has been of some benefit to you today. And I look forward to seeing you again next week.